Welcome back to Sagas of the Paired. This is still technically session 0, but it's part 2-ish of the whole thing. As today we are going to be going over how Izzy's character ends up in Riverford. That character being Xenovera. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Xenovera first?
Well, if I had to put Xenovera into words, I'd have to say, think of like an old grandfather that like served in the war and lost a few of his marbles when he came back, but is still like loving and caring all the same.
Of course.
And that war being, well, don't worry about that, but he also has a dragon, don't worry about it.
He also rides a dragon. That's the thing.
This is true.
He's from the Bailux Kingdom. The Bailux Kingdom, of course, being a very large nation, the blue one over there, with the capital of Crosshaven, home to the Draco Knights and other forces, mostly knight-based and foot soldiery and all cavalry. But that's not where Xenovera is. In fact, Xenovera currently is on a boat. He's on a boat that is going to be stopping in Riverford pretty soon, and that boat's name is the Free Sail. He was hired aboard to provide a little bit of extra protection in exchange for, payment, first of all, and of course passage across the strait between the Bailux Kingdom and Kirgrad and Grimvin. So, let us move over to the Free Sail. And again, for those of you who want a little information on the Paired Lands themselves, the Paired Lands are two continents that were 1,000 or so years ago divided by fierce storms down the strait. And when they cleared up, there was a lot of war, infighting, and that sort of thing that eventually died down. And while the two sides aren't exactly intermingling all that much still, it's a time of relative peace. The only group that is really causing a lot of trouble being the Khanates, which are raiding and pillaging as raiders who, recently discovered sailing are wont to do. So, what is Xenovera doing aboard the ship? As currently it is just sailing along towards Riverford.
He's probably trying to make himself useful. He doesn't know much about sailing. He's been on ships very far and few between.
Right.
But he's probably like, if there needs to be like manual labor done, he's doing that. If not, he's probably either like scrubbing or like just talking to people, if nothing else.
I see.
Since he's interested in like, he's not a sailor, of course, but he wants to know more about it as it's a new experience and it's interesting to him.
Indeed. I don't know why there's a dog on the boat. Don't worry about it.
Oh no.
On board the Free Sail, captained by Vincent Martel, it transports various goods from the Bailux Kingdom to the capital of Grimvin and back. Mostly magical goods. They stop in Riverford every time. It's a well-known ship and well-known route. The route, of course, being slightly more dangerous than other routes across the strait, but also a little faster. So, there you are. There's plenty of manual labor to be done aboard a ship. Most of it, just involving moving things around, dealing with, keeping cargo secure, and occasionally moving sails and pulling ropes. So there is plenty of that work to be done.
And when that isn't happening, he's likely patrolling and keeping an eye out for any unwanted ships.
Indeed. So where would Xenovera be? Just on a regular, like, say the manual labor's done, he's done that. Where would he be hanging out on the ship?
Likely towards the back, actually. At least to him, his like line of thinking is, if someone wants to take over a ship, they have to take over the wheel as well.
Of course.
And he doesn't want this like changing course or doing something like very unfortunate.
Which is fair. Feel free to move yourself about the ship, of course.
Yeah. He'd probably be about here. It's just like taking a look in or look out and just observing.
Well, you can roll me a perception.
Sure. There's performance. Oh, it's over here, right?
You don't see any ships on the horizon, and you don't really see much else. It's a pretty clear day, at least as far as, the ocean itself is concerned, though it is a little overcast. That's pretty normal out in this area of the sea, though. At least, from what Vincent is telling you.
Who is currently at the wheel?
Well, that would be the person right next to you, Vincent Martel, the Free Sails captain.
Does he seem keen on idle chat, or is he just focused on what he's doing?
Well, he will chat with you if you'd like. He doesn't seem to talk a lot while he's steering, at least of his own accord, but as soon as he gets talking, and you've noticed this, he's very loud, very boisterous.
Then he'll approach, make himself known before speaking, with a gruff sort of.
Oh. Hey, Miss Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, though. I had a few questions, if you didn't mind my asking.
Go for it. What you gotta know? He moves a couple of levers and then eventually sticks a rod underneath the wheel to hold it in place, turning and then leaning on it.
I was wondering, do you always go through these waters? This route in particular, I mean.
Yeah, of course. Faster. Much faster.
I suppose faster indeed, though more perilous.
I pride myself on my delivery times. That's why I hire you folks like you to keep the ship safe.
That is fair.
Besides, I'm pretty handy with a sword myself.
There hasn't been much of a ruckus right now, and I'm thankful for that, but do you foresee anything in the future?
Yeah, probably. Usually get attacked once or twice in these trips, but we have pretty calm sailing today. Maybe, I don't know, maybe whatever's in these waters has decided that ship's not worth it. I mean, we've come through here plenty of times, never gotten caught once. Well, caught, but, not dealt with or
stopped.
anything.
Yes. And, what's the word for it? This is a lucrative business, yes?
Of course. Fastest ship between the two. See, faster you are, the more you can charge people for the same goods, right?
I suppose.
So, I pride myself on being fast to get the job done.
How long have you been doing this?
Year and a half, 2 years? Somewhere around there. I mean, trips only take, month or so.
How long have we been sailing?
You've been sailing for about, pretty close to a month, actually. It's not quite, pretty close to the point where you'd be ending up in Riverford. About half a month. In this case, you, based on what Vincent has told you and what you can at least figure, it's about 2 days to Riverford, which you'll be making a stop for repairs, supplies, and then moving on towards Spotterburg.
Gotcha. And how long has it been since the fog lifted?
Which fog?
The fog in between the islands. Or the continents.
Oh, the storms? That's
yeah.
That was 1,000 or so years ago. It's been a long time.
Okay.
Been a long time.
I suppose I should get out of your hair then.
Hey, don't worry about it.
If you need anything, you know where to find me.
Not really, you tend to wander around a lot.
Well, I mostly end up here, but right now I think I might check on my companion.
Fair enough.
And he'll do as such.
Vincent just knocks the rod back onto the deck and unlocks the wheel and just begins sailing again, actively making sure that you're on the proper path. Now, of course, below deck is where your companion is being kept, inside one of the stables next to the horse stables.
Yeah. He'd go down there and, of course, just check up on it, tend to it if it needed anything, if it had food, water, and all that good jazz.
It does indeed. The stable master is out for a break right now, and as you go down there, it's your Drake is very happy to see you. It doesn't like being cooped up like this, but it understands at least that it has to because it can't run around on deck. Plus, it doesn't want to because there's water
everywhere. Yeah. That's fair.
Is there anything else you're doing down there?
I think he's just like tending to it for a bit and just relaxing and letting it like cool down. Or I suppose since it's like he's expected to be a bit anxious, considering he's away from it most of the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, as you're down there, and just calming down your friend, the boat suddenly lurches, and I'm going to need you to make an acrobatics check.
Oh goodness.
Acrobatics is for balance.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The boat lurches, and you hear the creaking and groaning of wood as the entire boat shifts and turns. It seems like you've hit something almost. And Xenovera, not being ready for this and not being the most dexterous fellow, is thrown against the pen and hits his head against it. Taking only a single point of damage. I guess you were wearing your helmet.
Thank goodness for that. He abruptly attempts to stand up.
As you were standing up, you hear cries of two arms from the main deck, and outside through the there's not really portcullises down here, but through part of the wood slats, you see a spear get stabbed through the side of the hull. It appears that someone is boarding the ship, or something.
He takes one look at Azaria. Then kicks open the stable door and rushes out.
Well, it is locked, so I'm going to need an athletics check.
Sure.
The hinge is rusty, and the lock is not really well secured. It's not meant to actually hold back anything more than a horse. And as such, a good swift kick knocks the gate open, and you immediately are able to grab your Drake. Azara? Is that how it's said?
Azaria. Excuse me. Yeah, Azaria.
Azaria, and head above deck. Now, you head above deck through this little port right here. Let me move you over here. As that is the only staircase up from the stables and onto the main deck. Unless you were planning on jumping through the floorboards, which I don't think you could do.
No.
Allow me to get you. Break, here you go. And what you see upon arriving out onto the main deck is a group of creatures, people who look like fish, almost, carrying spears, and with clawed, bloodied hands, fighting with the sailors. Now, up on next to the captain's nest, you see a larger one with slightly better equipment, dueling with Vincent, and over the side comes another. And it's time for initiative.
Oh boy.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, being surprised at the commotion a little bit, and only just having got out the door, you are caught off guard by this creature as it rushes you with its spear in hand, going straight for your face. Thankfully, your quick reflexes and armor, and training do manage to deflect the blow. For its third action, it's going to make a second attack, though this one it's going to make with its claw. And it's also going to miss. Look at that. Transitioning it over to your turn.
Xenovera gets a steely-eyed gaze as he grabs the great axe from his back, twirls it about once, and then brings it down upon this thing. At least attempts to.
Very good.
So one action
draw, one action to attack.
Yeah. I believe he misses.
You do, unfortunately. Xenovera is unable to connect with this creature as it is just as slippery as it would appear, being a fishman.
Then for his third action, he'll mount up onto Zaria's back.
Very good.
Oh no.
Let's do that for you.
Thank you.
Alright. Back to the fisherman's turn. And, seeing as how, there's a dragon, it's gonna try and stab Zaria first with its spear.
AC is 14 for dragon.
Well, 14 is going to hit that.
Oof.
4 damage as it pierces the hide of the dragon with the spear. Though not very deep, that's for sure. And it's going to follow it up by attempting to claw at Xenovera. Oop, that's not a dice. There we go. That's a dice. And finally, it's going to try one more claw because it doesn't have anything else it can do. Actually, it does have something else it can do. It's going to let out a gargling, like, pseudo-roar as it attempts to intimidate Xenovera.
I forgot to do a thing. I'm an idiot. We'll save is 5, so 15 DC.
Well, it's going to intimidate Xenovera slightly, as it has managed to injure your Drake, and more than that, there's more of them in the water, clearly, as they are fighting with Vincent and the crew. So you're getting a little worried. Not exactly scared, but worried.
Yeah. He's more concerned about the others than he is about himself.
Xenovera.
He'll attempt to strike this thing once more.
A 14 will miss.
Unfortunate. Well, second verse same as the first. Unfortunate.
Fortunate indeed.
First third action, he will command Azaria to take their turn and attempt to slice this thing up. Is that 1 action or 2 actions for Azaria?
Azaria does get 2 actions, however, because you are mounted, you share a multi-attack penalty.
I see. That's unfortunate, but oh well. They will definitely not hit, but let's see if they roll a 20.
I believe.
Close!
Pretty close, but no.
Yeah. That's your 2 then.
Well, Azaria does have 1 more action.
Oh, you're right. Damn.
Fortunately, it's not going to make much of a difference. Back to our fishy friend. Going to repeat the same series of actions. First, attempting to stab the dragon.
I'm going to activate a thing. Retributive Strike.
Ah, well, first of all, your dragon friend, Azaria, takes 8 damage, which is reduced, of course, by 3. So 5 damage. Followed by you getting to stab them. Or I guess in this case, slash them. And a 24.
He's certainly had enough.
A 24 will definitely connect with the creature, dealing a good amount of slashing damage to it. As it stabs into Azaria, again, it's unable to pull away fast enough as the great axe cleaves across its chest and it staggers back. Both confused and annoyed by your antics. Will attempt to claw you. That's a crit.
Yeah.
That is a crit.
That's unfortunate.
That it is. For 10 damage.
Oof.
And it's going to go make 1 more claw attack. And the 12 will not hit. Back over to Xenovera.
A bit of, anger. He, looks down at this creature. He didn't want to use this now, but he will. As he touches a hand to his chest. And activates Lay on Hands. For
right.
3 healing, or for 6 healing, excuse me.
Yeah, 6 healing. It's just 6 flat for an ally, yep.
Yep. He will then two-hand his Great Axe once more and strike at it.
I should mention, you don't have to actually release anything for Lay on Hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I did.
No. Somatic actions can be taken with full hands. Fine.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. That's a hit, and 11 damage is in fact enough to bring the creature down as it is beheaded with a great cleave, as Xenovera has clearly had enough. Now, of course, there are other mercenaries aboard the ship, and they are currently fighting as well. But what is most notable, at least to Xenovera, is that Vincent, the man who said he was quite handy with a sword, proves that to be true as he strikes down the one on the main deck, causing at least the ones that can see what has happened to begin fleeing over to the side of the ship. Now, a couple of people have been injured and some killed, but for the most part, the creatures have fled, and the ship returns to calm.
He sort of wipes the blood off. Actually, does it have blood? I assume it does.
It does, yes.
Okay. Then as he like wipes the blood off of his axe's head and sort of sighs, looking over Azaria, he looks at the captain and shouts, "Everything all right up there?"
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Took a couple of bad hits, but I'm good. Ugh.
You weren't joking. You are good with a sword.
Well, you gotta be if you want to sail these waters. I mean,
Agreed.
yeah, we lose people here and there, but hey, every time we replace them, we get somebody better and better. Eventually, we won't lose anyone.
That is the dream. I apologize, but I may have damaged your stables just a bit.
Nah, that's fine. Those things are old anyway.
As he hops off of Zarya and starts checking them out, tending to their wounds as best he can.
Indeed. Well done on defeating that. Did you not? Do you want to make any recall knowledge checks about these creatures?
I would love to, though I don't know if I have the knowledge.
Well, they're humanoids, so it's society.
Wonderful.
16. These are sea devils, also known as Sahagwin.
Yeah.
The one in front of you appears to have just been a warrior slave, basically a low-class Sahagwin that is just thrown at ships to see what happens. Whereas the one up on the top deck was a raider, most likely a little bit more competent and leading this group of very weak creatures in an attempt to attack a merchant vessel that didn't seem to have very much military guard, but clearly they were wrong about it.
Yeah.
You see Vincent basically messing with the wheel a little bit and looking over the side of the ship and giving a nod and then hard tug on the wheel as the ship once again begins moving. Deployed a rope net in the water for us. Tried to catch us up and tie us to the bottom there.
Also, harpoons being attached to the outside as was it the word for it? Shot in, I suppose, since they were like fucking slammed into the sides of the ship.
Yeah.
Either way,
yeah. We have people below deck have already removed most of those. Need to get that untangled, which I think we're good. We're moving at least.
I suppose I'll get to cleaning up.
He once again locks the wheel and just sort of like, not really like perfectly gracefully, but just sort of calmly and easily just mantles
Drop?
over the edge of the ship, down onto the main deck, straightens his jacket and pulls out a gold coin, flicking it towards Xenovera.
He catches it with ease and bites it once just to check.
There's your hazard pay. Enjoy your time on board.
And he'll pocket it. And bring Azaria back down to the stables.
Indeed. Now after that, a little bit of a mess, and of course, cutting up the Sahagwin and throwing them into the water for the sharks, things are mostly calm for the next couple of days. And around the 23rd of Season of Rain, you end up arriving in Riverford itself. Now, the plank's a little small, but Zari is able to get off the boat just fine as long as nobody else is on it. But hey. You make it to Riverford, and, is there anything you want to do on shore?
After waving to the captain and thanking him for the journey, and of course getting off onto land, he probably does a bit of reconnaissance, considering he doesn't really know the place.
Mm-hmm.
So he does a little bit of looking around. Eventually, he would like to find the guard outpost.
Well, that would be in the main town. Do you mean the dock working area or the actual guard outpost?
The actual guard outpost.
Yeah, that would be in the main town, which is a little bit away from the dock.
Okay. So I guess the first thing you would do would get a good drink.
Well, yeah, asking any of the sailors or locals or guardsmen who are around, they will point you towards the Crone's Fist, which is the tavern up to the north, headed by the tall half-elven woman named Ricky.
We'll ride Azaria over there after thanking them for the information, and to whoever gave him the information, he'd probably toss a silver.
Indeed. It just happens to be one of the members of the crew from the boat you were on, so...
Yeah. That's fair. As he rides on over. He stops about here before dismounting and patting Azaria twice on the side of the neck as she sits down and essentially just waits.
Indeed.
Is that a guard out front?
Yep.
Or is that just...
He's just there. He's just hanging out.
That's fair. Then he nods to the man and enters.
Yep. The inside is, of course, filled with a number of patrons, most of them being sailors, but a good number of them being local townsfolk, you imagine, who frequent the bar as well.
He'll approach the counter, looking around for... I believe he had heard it was a half-elf?
Yep, and that is the woman who's behind the bar right now, setting out the food for the woman right next to her. After a few moments, she walks over. She's about 6'4" and seems fairly well, fairly healthy for being in her 60s, as it appears she is. Yeah, what can I get you?
Well, what do you have on top?
Well, we got cheap shit, we got good shit, and then we got the best shit. But you know, as it goes, you got copper, silver, gold. But you want something in the middle, we can work something out.
He'll take out a silver and place it on the counter.
Ah, I see. She takes it and just sort of tosses it underneath the counter, fills up a mug, and just sets it back on the counter in front of Xenovera. Enjoy.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, it's made from some local herbs and mushrooms around here. Good stuff's imported. The cheap shit is made from some brewer in town.
I see. Have there been any odd occurrences in town recently?
She squints a little, trying to get a read on Xenovera. Does he have a reason for why he's saying this?
He's asking specifically because he's concerned if there were like any banditry or like general miscreants. He's not really looking for anything specific. It's more of a general question. He doesn't seem to be like...
It depends on who's asking. Where are you from?
Bailux Kingdom. I'm Xenovera.
Reiki. She extends a hand.
He grasps it and shakes it gruffly.
She matches the force behind it.
Nice.
Right. Well, if you're from Bailux, nothing too weird. I mean, there's some weirdness, but most of that's been month or so out. I don't know. Not too much going on that's just out of the ordinary. I mean, we got a lot of travelers that come, so that sort of thing.
Anyone of note?
I mean, besides Captain Martel, who just stopped in, which I imagine you're with, no one I've heard of before.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for answering the questions of an old man.
Yeah, no problem.
Take his drink and sip. How's it taste?
It tastes pretty good, actually. You can it's a lighter beverage. You can taste a lot of the spices and herbs and mushrooms and that sort of thing that are fruits and that are mixed in with the alcohol in order to give it flavor.
Gotcha. Then he gives an appreciative hum and drinks further.
Well, are you worried it's poison?
No, not poisoned.
Alright then.
And he'll likely just sit there with his drink, or stand there with his drink. I don't know if there's any stools there.
There are, yes.
Then he'll probably just be like sitting there, taking in his drink, though he seems a little lost in thought as he's drinking.
Like you're worried about something there, Xenovera.
Mm.
You looking
Oh,
for someone, that's why you ask why things are odd?
Well, yes, actually. An incident happened in my old hometown that was unsavory to say the least, and I have been attempting to follow up on that.
What
Without much
brings you to
success.
Kirigrad then?
Yes.
You get a lead out this way or something?
I am searching far and wide in an attempt to find any sort of lead. There was not much from where I came from, so why not branch out?
Right. Well,
Either way, I need coin, and things things seem lucrative here.
well, that's for sure. As long as you're working the dangerous jobs anyway.
Are there any other jobs around here?
Well, I don't imagine you're much good with magic.
Not particularly. I know a spell or two, but it's not my forte.
Yeah, well. Besides that, there's already something working there right now, so if you're planning on leaving with Martel, probably be heading out soon.
Hmm.
Besides that, no, there's not. Unless you're planning on just. Actually. You're already working for him, of course, but he was asking for more mercenaries recently, Captain Martel. You say anything about that?
Not particularly, though we lost a few on the way here.
Well, that's pretty normal, but normally picks up new ones back in Sparberg, or whatever port town he lands at in Bailux.
Hmm.
Pretty odd for him to be asking around Riverford. I don't know, maybe he has another stop along the way or something.
Well, I believe from what he said, and if my math is correct, there's a bit more to his journey than just here.
Well, he was just going to be stopping in Sparberg. It's another, I don't know, 2 weeks, give or take, so. But it's not generally too much danger up the river. It's out in the open ocean you gotta worry about.
Yes. Sahagwins were what gave us the most trouble recently. It was unfortunate, but nothing we couldn't handle.
Yeah, you got lucky that it was just a Sahagwin, honestly. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, they're the most common, but you don't want to run into anything bigger.
Agreed.
Martel's pretty good at avoiding those, though.
Well, I suppose I'll keep doing what I'm doing and find out if I can find anything.
Yeah. I imagine Martel's going to be restocking for a couple of days. You need a room or staying on the ship?
I believe I will need a room. Though, are there any stables nearby?
Well, not really, but we got a shed out back. Why, you got a horse?
No. Hey, have you ever seen a drake before?
Not personally.
Would you like to?
You got a riding drake, huh?
I do. Zarya's right outside.
Well, don't bring him inside. I'll come check him out when we're getting them set up in the shed, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if she'd fit through the door.
Yeah, it's a big door. Fine.
Fair enough.
Anyway. Don't worry about the room. I'll just charge Martel for it.
Appreciate it. While I'm here, I may as well take a look around, he says as he raises his glass and finishes it in one big gulp
Yep.
before standing.
See you around, hopefully.
Yes, indeed. He'll walk back up to Zarya, pat her once on the side of the neck, and mount up again.
Indeed.
Time to take a look around. And that he does.
What exactly are you looking for in the town here?
He's mostly looking like... Essentially, he's getting like a head count. He's looking for important places of interest, fortifications,
Mm-hmm.
like things like that.
Well, the dock is the most traveled part of the town. The inner town is very small. It's residential mostly and only has the guardhouse as any notable point of interest. City Hall is hardly even traveled to at all. The town is mostly just based on the port. A lot of sailors and people just sort of are around there, really. It's a small town, save for the constant flow of trade goods that pass through it. To the south, next to the dock, there is, of course, the dock house, which has the all the papers and taxes and whatever for traveling ships. The magic shop that you are pointed to actually has a sign on it that just says "Out for lunch," which is weird, but you're not sure why that is.
Her like looks through a window, but doesn't bother much with that otherwise.
It appears empty.
Then he'll probably eventually end up going to the guard outpost. Because at least to him, he thinks he might as well introduce himself and see if they need anything.
All right. The guard outpost is, again, not very busy, but besides the patrols that are going in and out.
Yeah.
And the man at the front desk, gruff man, older man, just sort of looks up a little bit, then goes back to the paperwork he's doing.
I think I probably should have mentioned it earlier, but he is wearing his insignia.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. What was the word for it? He essentially would just introduce himself and ask if there's like any problems in town that needed tending to from an adventurer and or mercenary.
Not really, no. But we have the guards.
Fair enough.
Quiet town for the most part. We try to keep it. He squints a little bit. Haven't seen you before. Resale came in today, didn't it? Resale came in today, didn't it?
It did.
You with him?
Yes. Xenovera.
Gotcha. Well, that's the only notice I've got about somebody looking for mercenary work.
Let's see.
If you're already working there, keep working there.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll get out of your head then.
Yeah, have a nice day.
You too. I suppose, since there isn't much here that like interests him and or needs to be done, I think he... What is it? Is there any like craft shops and or like... I want to say like... I don't know why I want to say woodsmith. That's not...
I mean, yeah, woodworking is a thing, but I know what you mean.
Woodworking, yeah.
Yeah.
Is like a woodworking shop anywhere?
Yeah.
He'd like to go there then.
Carpentry.
Yeah, carpet. There you go.
There is, in fact, a carpenter.
Then he'd like to go in there and like see if he can purchase some tools and some like blanks for like carving.
Yeah, sure. Don't know if woodworking tools are a thing that's listed, but check. Second. Yeah, so you're able to get a small bit of carpentry tools for about 4 silver.
That works for me. And he'll definitely purchase those and get like, let's say, enough wood for like 4 carvings.
Alright. It's not terribly expensive, it's just a few copper.
Yeah. Like 5 copper?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Cool. Works for me. Then he'll head back to the tavern/inn,
Mhm.
work on setting up a Zarya, and then get to carving.
Very good. And that is where we'll end Session 0 of Xenovera, reaching Riverford. Do you have any questions about anything before we,
Did you get a general population count?
Well, it's hard to tell with all the travelers, though if you had to guess, the population of Riverford is in the low hundreds, 1 to 200 maybe.
Gotcha. Nope, that's about it.
Alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time here, and, well, somebody showing up with a riding drake will definitely be a notable thing that happened in the town for a little while. So as you arrived here, I think I may have misspoke, I'm not sure, but the day that you are here, arriving is the 23rd of the Season of Rain.
That's what I believe you said earlier.
Yeah. Session 1 will be at the end of the day of the 23rd of the Season of Rain, and going in.
Gotcha.
And, yeah. I think that's everything. If you guys enjoyed, next week will be one more Session 0, and then the week after that will be Session 1, where the entire party will be together, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day, everyone, and I'll see you next time.
Take care.